Hi folks, and welcome to today's video, herniated disc recovery, how your disc injury changes over time. Now, I do make a lot of great content for those folks out there suffering with low back injuries, such as herniated discs, bulging discs, sciatica nerve pain, stenosis, those kind of things. If that's you, then hit that subscribe button. You'll be notified when we put some great new content on YouTube for you guys to get you back on the road to recovery. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. So folks, today I want to talk a little bit about the actual morphological changes that happen to your disc as you're recovering. Primarily, we're talking about the lumbar herniated discs. Now, for most people who have a herniated bulging disc in the lumbar spine, you may have some back pain, you may have some sciatica nerve pain, and for most people, we're talking more than 80%, they'll recover reasonably, quickly, easily with conservative treatment. Up to 6 months or so, they should be back moving around quite normal. However, some people will get disappointed that they're not sort of progressing as fast as perhaps the doctors maybe told them, or perhaps they read on the internet. And the internet is a dangerous thing sometimes for information, right? Now, I do have a separate video which goes over the kind of time frame of healing and what you should expect during that process. It's going to pop up at the end of this video, so please watch the end of this one, and then you can click on that one. You'll see more of the kind of time scale of things that will happen as your recovery journey goes along. Now, today I want to talk more about the actual disc changes themselves, what happens to the actual disc at that level. And it was brought about by a client of mine who had a 6-month MRI follow-up, and on the MRI report it didn't actually state any particular change to the disc. Now, I'd explained to him this is actually quite normal, and I shared with him a study which went into looking at MRIs follow-up 6 months, a year, 18 months, etc. And when you looked at the 6-month stage, when you looked at the margin of error within the study, many of those people's discs would have been exactly the same size of herniation at that point. And this is quite common. If you don't really tend to see many changes in the disc up until kind of 1 year, 18 month, 2, 3, 4 year extended further forward. And I've actually put in the description quite a few number of studies you can go and look at which cover the kind of the sort of recurrent MRIs on people with disc injuries to see how they change over time. Yes, there are cases of what they call very quick disc reabsorption, but disc reabsorption is actually a bit of a misnomer. I'll come on to that in just a few minutes, which I think one of the studies I read, it was within 6 months the full disc herniation had disappeared. Now, there are a number of reasons or a number of factors that come into play that will affect how quickly your disc will reabsorb, and we'll cover those now. So there are a number of factors that will affect the rate of your disc to regenerate, recover, reabsorb, the different terms for it. Now, I just mentioned that disc reabsorption is a bit of a misnomer because that implies that the disc material, which is herniated, gets all completely brought back into the disc space, okay? That's not exactly true, and I'll just come on to it in just a second. Now, one of the main things or poignant things which will affect how quickly you recover is the actual type of disc injury you have. There's a picture is going to flash up on the screen here, and you see at one end you have what's called the disc sequestration, which is where the disc is fully herniated. A little bit of disc material is actually sort of broken off, and it's separate, okay, from the original disc material. Those types of injuries tend to heal a lot faster than, say, for example, a small bulge, which is at the far end of the picture. You'll see there's what's called a bulging disc. They tend to take a lot longer to heal. And it's generally because if you have a sequestration, a greater injury, you have a greater anti-inflammatory response by the body. It tries to heal fast. And what tends to happen, and they have 3 hypotheses. They don't know exactly which one is the predominant, but there's a couple of different sort of theories as to why your disc will essentially disappear, that material which is pushed out, okay? So one is actually a kind of an energy. You have what's called the posterior ligament at the back of your spine, where the disc will push out, and it gets obviously pushed on the ligament, and that ligament can push back. So you have almost like an elastic pushing back into the disc space, that material. There's also a theory of what they call dehydration, where as your disc is majority of 90% water, the dehydration itself, it will disappear. And then they have a third, which is to do with phagocytosis. It's where the body will actually eat up its own kind of alien bodies that are in a particular area of your body. It'll eat it up. It's an enzymatic activity, and the disc will disappear. So technically, yes, they're calling it spontaneous or reabsorption of the disc, but in many ways it's not a full reabsorption. It's more the body will actually digest the material, and the disc will scar over, and that material will now disappear. It's no longer apparent on MRIs down the line. So that's one of the main things, is how severe the injury is. So the worse the injury, it tends to heal faster, okay? Number two is age. Unfortunately, yes, the younger you are, the generally faster you do bounce back from injuries. The older we are, our discs, they actually change. Morphologically, they start changing, they become more cartilaginous, they become less hydrated. They're more like a kind of thick piece of rubber almost, rather than a spongy donut. So the younger you are, you tend to heal a lot faster. If you're a smoker, this does affect blood flow to the surrounding area of the discs. It does affect the nutrients passing across to the disc. Generally, people who smoke, they tend to have worse healing times. So yes, if you smoke, that will affect you in a big way. When you start rehab, now I talked about this in the last video, this is very, very important. If you get into a rehab plan ASAP, as soon as possible, you have a far better outcome, okay, than someone that waits a month or 2 months before they actually start rehab for a lumbar bulging herniated disc. So if you suspect you do have a bulging herniated disc, or you've been told yes you do, but your rehab won't start for a while, check out the video I did last week. It's going to pop at the end of this one. It goes into a little bit more details about the urgency for rehab to start something now. And I've got loads of videos to help you out on that kind of stuff. You can look at all my videos on rehab type routines, okay? So it's very, very important that you start rehab as soon as possible. Also, I have found this also in the literature as well, doing some form of decompression therapy will also help with rehabbing and getting that disc kind of to help reabsorb, etc. It actually puts the spine in a good position, decompression therapy. As I said, as we age, the discs tend to dehydrate. Decompression therapy will help, will assist the discs hydrating, make them spongy, make them flexible, which is going to be better for your long-term recovery down the line, even post-injury. You want to keep doing that type of work to keep your spine in a healthy space. So there's many, many factors that will affect the rate at which the disc will heal, reabsorb, etc., dehydrate, okay? Now, for the majority of cases, when they've looked at the studies, and you can have a look at the ones in the description, yes, at the 18-month, 2, 3, 4 year follow-up, majority of people have had the disc fully reabsorb. However, for other people, there is still showing a disc herniation, a disc bulge. However, they have no pain, they can do all the activities they need to, their quality of life is no longer affected, okay? But there is a small majority which, yes, they may have to get some form of operation to get back to 100% being normal, okay? But what it means for you is that, yes, it is a long road, okay? But for the majority of people using conservative care, not surgery, you will get there, okay? And it is very important to take it easy in that first year, 18 months, not to go too hard back too soon to your activity or sports, because the chance of re-injury is quite high, because it does take a long time for that disc to heal. Now, based on that, what are the key takeaways? Okay, well, as I've just kind of alluded to, number one, it is a long road. I've spoke to so many people with their back injuries, back problems, and that sometimes is the hardest thing to understand, is realizing, I break my arm, 6 to 8 weeks in a cast, bones ossified, I'm healed, I'm good to go. Get some rehab and I'm good to go. When you hurt your back, okay, herniated disc, bulging disc, it's a long road, and that's very hard for some people to understand. So, number one, it is a long road, okay? You have to understand that's a long road for recovery. Number two, start your rehab as soon as possible, okay? It's in the research, if you start as soon as possible, you're more likely to have a better outcome than someone who waits, all right? Number three, do not be demoralized if you get a follow-up MRI and nothing has changed, okay? 6 months, 8 months. This is very, very, very normal. It's consistent with the literature. You should be focusing on your pain levels, your what you can do, your ability. Don't focus too much on MRI results. Focus on what you're actually achieving with your strength, etc., okay? Number four, I'll be doing some decompression work. It's going to help your disc in the long run. It's going to help stabilize your spine in the long run. There is a lot of evidence now to show that decompression work really does help with disc injuries, and it will also help you later in life. Talking of later in life, number 5, get yourself and keep yourself as strong as possible, okay? You're gonna be able to stabilize your spine, you're gonna be able to do various movements, okay, opening doors, pushing things, lifting groceries, etc. If you're strong, okay, your body's strong, it'll help support your spine whilst doing those movements. It will help prevent re-injury and other injuries in the future, okay? So some key takeaways for you after this video. So guys, listen, I hope this video has been useful for you. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the video. If you are out there suffering with your own back pain issues, you can always drop me an email, okay, put a comment in the comment section, ask me a question. If you want, you can also jump on a free advice call. I do that as well for folks. It's a free 45-minute advice call. We jump on the call, I get you to a pre-call questionnaire, you fill in the details, I go over and I can give you some advice, etc. on your situation and how to move forward with it, all right? All right, guys, listen, hope this video has been useful. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.